welcome you to another live edition of the Sports Box, your go-to sports podcast featuring great content, conversation, and your occasional disagreement. Stick around to interact and ask questions. Ladies and gentlemen, it's showtime.
Good morning, everyone. Week 12, Sunday, NFL countdown, pregame, whatever you want to call it, live on the Sports Box. Brian Attard, Drew Trammell, Tony Quigley, Anthony Media will take you wall-to-wall, wire-to-wire around the NFL. We'll touch on the snow game on Thursday night, some potential quarterback change on both sides of the river, I guess, in New York. I'm sure a topic that Anthony's near to his heart is taking a look at the quarterbacks in the last draft, that they should go in a different order. I'm sure he'll enjoy that. Again, powered by the Sports Box Network. Like, follow, and share. We appreciate that. Catch us on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call that. Like, follow, and share Drew's account there. And let's get it started. I think Tony just dropped.
Power.
I don't know. It's technology, right? The Cleveland Browns. Power went out, he said. Cleveland Browns 24-19, a win at home over the Pittsburgh Steelers. Russell Wilson, who's been really good. He's been really good. Yeah. 21 of 28, 270 and a touchdown. Jameis Winston, 18 of 27, 219 and a pick. Again, for all the people that think the Browns need to find their way away from Deshaun Watson, this is the second straight year where another quarterback comes in and just the offense looks a hell of a lot better. And you can't ignore that. That's real life, and that's reality, and that's a problem. I look at this more, again, division game stuff happens, but I think if you're Pittsburgh, you had to have this one. And I think the fact that they lost, again, I'm not a huge believer in them. I eventually they'll win or lose, and I'll be right or wrong, but I don't know. I don't know. The defense is phenomenal, but it's a game where Cleveland had them.
Yeah, Brian, like you said, it's a divisional game. We kind of expected it. It was almost like a trap game for Pittsburgh. A lot of people talked about it. Like you said, I think Steelers' defense is good, very good. Russell Wilson's been playing well, but their offense still seems a little stagnant to me. I mean, they're always just going right at Pickens. They're starting to get Warren involved now more in the run game. He looked good, but they just had their number. Cleveland had their number. They did it to Baltimore. They shut them down. Jameis is a gamer. I never really understood why Jameis never really got a second chance like these other guys like Darnold and those cast of guys. I thought he was a really good quarterback. He threw a lot of interceptions, made a lot of mistakes early in his career, but I think he's improved, and I think he's a good quarterback for that system. He's getting guys involved. Judy's having a resurgence. Even Moore, their other wide receivers, is getting more looks. So I think that it's a different Cleveland team. Like you said, I think they're just a lot better with another quarterback because they have talent. We talked about it. They have a really talented roster on the offensive and defensive side. So I think with better quarterback play, they're just a really good team.
I disagree with both of you on the notion of it being like Pittsburgh shooting themselves in the foot. It's a effing snow game, dude. It's a 50-50 for anybody playing. If that wasn't normal conditions and normal weather, or cold weather without any snow or heavy wind, we're talking about a completely different outcome of this game. You could see what happened in that entire game. Russell looked out of place. The footing wasn't there for his throws. Pickens just didn't look like himself, wanted to fight people because that's just who he is. But regardless of the fact, man, all I'm taking from this game is what Brian said to the jump. They needed this game. They needed this game bad to get them to separate themselves from Baltimore, who obviously is chasing them in the AFC North. It's they would have had I believe it's a 2-game lead if they would have won on Thursday night, and and they also have the head-to-head against Baltimore. So it was definitely a big game for the Steelers. On the flip side of it, and I agree with everything you said, man, Jameis Winston propels this team to better heights. The offense looked really good underneath the snow. That rushing touchdown by Jameis was phenomenal, especially in that new 4K HD camera. That movie cinema style was really dope how they did it. Yeah, man, it just looks like they want to play for him compared to Deshaun Watson, which we keep on beating a dead horse. He has the MLB version of the yips. He just can't play quarterback anymore in this league. And Brian, I agree with you. The Browns really need to sit themselves down this offseason and say what quarterback gives us the best chance to excel in not only in the NFL, but also in a really, really, really tough division that's going to be coming back with even more talent as the years go by. Lamar Jackson isn't going anywhere. Joe Burrow and that Cincinnati Bengals team that offense is really not going to go anywhere. We'll see what happens with T. Higgins. But overall, in that game on Thursday night, I'm with you, Ant. Like I said, Jameis Winston really, really deserved a second chance, and it sucks that he never really got that second chance with like a Sam Darnold or whatever the case may be, because in New Orleans, Sean Payton promised Tyson Hill to start a quarterback after Drew Brees. That whole situation was stupid as shit. Yeah, I'm with you, Ant, on that part. But it's going to be interesting to see what the Cleveland Browns are going to do in the offseason from a quarterback standpoint.
Sorry about the little interruption. Listen, it's primetime home dog on a Thursday night. Weird things happen. I'm chalking it up to that. I'm not on board with the Winston love. I mean, it's not very hard to play better than Deshaun Watson, how he's playing this year, especially at home. There's going to be a little bit more energy. I mean, you've seen there was fights throughout that game. I mean, even after the end of the game, Pickens was throwing hands with guys. It was just one of them games where I think it was safe. I don't blame anybody for getting off the Jameis Winston bandwagon, because it's just a style of football that he could play. Like other guys, I think, especially like a Sam Darnold, who you mentioned, they could be more game managers. I don't know if Winston could be that role, so I think it scared coaches away from him. I think they're away from that. The 5 touchdown, 5 interception games, because he wants to go out there and throw the ball and not think what his brain. I don't think, it's a big question of whether they could temper that down. Steelers, to me, I don't know what they're doing with Justin Fields. I mean, he had a huge run for 30 yards, and then he winds up with 26. The other 2 yards, the other 2 carries were just stupid in bad situations and ineffective. And Wilson was effective underneath, threw for the 270, but the run game, Najee Harris just wasn't what it was. Jalen Warren stepped in. I don't know if they had that identity yet. It was just a little weird game. I chalked it up to Thursday night game. I got a guy who works for me. He's a huge Jameis Winston fan for whatever reason. And he was like, "Oh, Jameis going to go up and throw 2 touchdowns and blah, blah, blah." And I'm like, my response to him, it's Thursday night. Anything could happen on Thursday. Weird things happen. So not surprised at the outcome at all. Thursday the home dog. It's one of them weird games in the NFL in their division.
Steelers got to get the ball in the end zone. I mean, their red zone offense is not good. So, I mean, they're getting the ball down there. You see how much Boswell's kicking the ball. I mean, they're just not getting in the end zone. So I think that's a real issue with the Steelers right now, just not getting it in, not getting those 6 points.
Well, I think all of us from the start have been like, this Cinderella going to turn into a pumpkin at some point this year. We have all been on the Steelers bandwagon. They're running out of time to fall off, but again, I mean, I think if they lose this division, this is going to be the game that they look to and say, man, we should have had that one. I think that's going to be the one for me. But I mean, Baltimore say the same thing. Baltimore also lost in Cleveland recently, so it wasn't as if this is kind of an isolated incident. Joe D'Angelo getting ahead of my next topic. Does Daniel Jones land a spot anywhere? The Giants cut the former 6th overall pick. He is expected to sign a deal somewhere this week. Tommy DeVito getting the start over Drew Lock, who was visibly upset at that development. again, I've said this before. I'll say it again. The playoff run or whatever, the playoff win the Giants had a couple of years ago over Minnesota was so long-term destructive to this team, and you are just finally getting to the other side of that. There'll be a new quarterback there next year. You know, a lot's been made about Saquon, this and that. I'm not going to re-legislate that today. Just your general thoughts on Danny Dimes and his. Is he going to go? I mean, is he even a viable backup at this point? Just what do you think of the player? Where could he go? The Giants from here?
All kind of interest out there for him, actually. I mean, I've heard Miami, I've heard Carolina, I've heard, and I think both of those spots are a little weird landing spots for him too, especially Miami. Kind of productive win a few years ago, you know, but that's kind of the NFL for you at times, you know. Daniel Jones just haven't gotten it done. I mean, no one's. I don't think any of the guys that I think he's got more opportunity than Baker. He's got more opportunity than Darnold with their same team, you know, than a lot of these other guys. And you can't fault the Giants for giving them the opportunity to actually succeed. You can fault them for a lot of things. Number one, picking him, you know, at 6 overall when he should have never been there. Bad pick at the time. They tried to play it out as much as they can. I don't blame Drew Lock for being upset about, you know, not it, because he's the only one that really has potential. Tommy Cutlets, or whatever you want to call him, you know, he's good for the North Jersey crowd. He's good for the New York crowd. You know, it's you know, little mania there, a little hype, whatever. You know, he's not going to get the job done at any way, shape, or form. So I think Locke has the ability and the talent that you really haven't seen yet in the NFL. So I think he should have got the opportunity and kind of see what he has for the future, because no matter what you say, Tommy DeVito isn't going to be the quarterback for the Giants next year. Drew Lock probably isn't, but at least I'd rather give him the audition than DeVito.
Yeah,
we know.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
You're good. Go ahead.
We just irritated. I'm just irritated by how the Giants handle this whole thing. I'm a big players guy. Like, I think all of us are on what we do. First and foremost, to give the guy the presser to, you know, I think Daniel Jones is a class act from a player standpoint. I know we shit on him because of his performance and this and that, and which granted, he deserves it, especially being a top 10 pick and getting paid $40 million a year after one successful season. But, you know, how they did.
He's a little weird, too. We pick on him because he's a little weird.
He's weird. Yeah, he's a weird cat. He reminds a lot of Adam Gase's son.
The facial expressions.
Yeah.
The tripping on the imaginary.
I agree with you.
I mean, he deserves some of the heat. Yeah. He gives you a lot of those looks. Yeah.
But just from an organizational standpoint, I think all of us would agree that the Giants really fumbled the bag when it came to dealing with this release. They also fumbled the bag on the part with Tommy DeVito. We know this isn't a Brian Daboll call. This is a Merrick call. Obviously, they're going to do what Brian loves people to do, which I love people to do when you don't have a chance to tank it. We saw last week on Tank or No Deal. This is a team that's going to do it. They are obviously going to be the sweepstakes for Shedeur Sanders or Travis Hunter. Good luck, because I'm going to turn out Dion ain't going to let them get him. It's going to be funny how that's going to go in the offseason, because he's going to privately talk to these organizations. I don't know what you're going to do and how you can force the hand of a team to not draft somebody, but we'll see what happens. On the other half of it,
well, Eli did.
On the other half,
Eli, John Elway, Bo Jackson. I mean,
wait, hold on. If you're Dion, you don't
John
want
Elway
to go play in New York. I think that would be a prime spot for him. I think he just doesn't want to go to a small market.
Yeah, I think Dion would support.
I don't know.
Shedeur.
I don't know what he's looking for. I would think it would be an organization that's on the rise that could protect his son. But
well, a couple of young linemen have graded out well. You got Neighbors as there, Wandale Robinson showing a threat. I mean, Theo Johnson kind of seems productive.
Tracy,
I mean, you have
a nice running back.
Tracy. I mean, that's what I say. There are some, and that's the other thing too. Like Daniel Jones failed with these parts too. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think it would be a spot that Dion and the bright lights of New York would shy away from.
I agree.
You're throwing Dallas at. Speaking of Dion, that's definitely never a Zeke Okay, and the 88 is definitely never anybody but the playmaker. Speaking of Deion, if Dallas does come calling, then that's obviously the prime spot for him.
I agree.
Yeah, but
That'll never work. Them two together.
there are
never.
people saying that the Cowboys are going to go get no, they're not going to.
What would never work? Dion and Jerry?
Yeah, I don't think that.
Why would that not work? Two people
I
that
just
love
don't think
themselves
that
and
just-
love money. I mean,
Yeah, I disagree. I disagree with that.
I just don't think they could do
well, must be the money, Ant. That's all it's about.
it. It's a good song.
But here's the other thing too. Like, why wouldn't Deion want his son in New York? Because they're foolhardy enough to give Daniel Jones $40 million. What do you think his?
Sure, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
I hear you.
They're handing out lotto tickets.
It's again, we've talked about this before. The butterfly effect of the Danny Dimes pick, because they loved Justin Herbert that year, but they couldn't do it because they just took a quarterback 6th overall. Like, you start like the yellow brick road you go down with these bad decisions that you make, that you put yourself into, and it's just they're going to draft a quarterback. They wanted Drake May last year. They couldn't get up there because they won games, didn't matter.
But that yellow, I get what you're saying, the yellow brick road, but they still shot themselves in the foot twice for giving him a deal after one good year. You could talk about draft all you want. That is the biggest fumble in recent history of giving him that much money off of one good year, because you kept on beating the dead horse, saying that's how they were scheduled. This is who they're playing against.
Yeah.
It's going to be fool's gold at the end after the playoffs is done. And look what happened. You were right. So I would stand 2 feet on that call. The last part I want to say is yes, Daniel Jones has been a mistake at quarterback and what he's been able to do. He also showed glimpses of, oh, wow, okay, yeah, he knows what he's doing, blah, 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 blah. I really do believe, yes, I agree with you, Tone, that that the Giants has given him a plethora of opportunities. But to look at the entire landscape of what he's had a below 25 offensive line ranking every year that he's played. Even the year that he won, he's had horrific O-lines. He's had no good receivers besides Neighbors this year, if you guys want to consider him a good receiver or not. I still need to see more from him. And look in the past, I don't even think he had OBJ. He didn't have anybody good.
Well, they whiffed on Galloway.
They whipped on Galloway. They also whipped on the dude that from the Lions that they gave $100-something million to. I can't think of his name right now. Kenny Galladay. All that thing you said, you said Galladay.
That's who you meant. Yeah, no, I get it.
Yeah, he's trash. There's also been reports, Brian, where Daniel Jones went to, I don't know the GM's name. I keep on forgetting his name, but we saw him in Hard Knocks. Yeah. Him and his agent have came out and said, and I know this from a boy of mine who works in New York media, that Daniel Jones went and talked to the GM to say, take some of my money, a Ben Roethlisberger move, to go pay Barkley. That's the type of player that I would want to play with, and that's why all these guys are banding up with him. Yes, he's not a typical caliber starting quarterback. He will get spots. I do like the Miami. I wouldn't mind if Dallas would have a nice backup quarterback to help Dak out, whatever the case may be. He could be serviceable. We've seen it with these other guys. If Minshew can be a backup quarterback, then we can see Daniel Jones be a backup quarterback somewhere.
We were talking about Jameis Winston. I mean, you could absolutely see a career trajectory very similar when you talk about a guy like Daniel Jones, who was picked high in the draft, went some plays, didn't overly work out, could go somewhere else as a backup for a while, maybe end up becoming a Flacco somewhere at some point. I mean,
what happened to the crowd that said Brian Dable was going to make him the next Josh Allen?
Crickets
on that crowd.
Brian Dable takes a lot of blame for sure.
Yeah, but this is the thing too. I think that, again, I am of the belief that I would not be getting rid of a GM or a coach in New York, because, again, this is now going to be finally the opportunity for them to go at it with a quarterback of their choosing.
Yeah, you're going to get you bring somebody in like that. You got to let them get the quarterback, especially if the one you have doesn't work out. I mean, listen, it all boils down to the classic cliche. The Giants chased bad money with good money, and they doubled down on Jones, and it just bit them in the ass time and time again.
But I will tell you again, revisionist history, I agree. But if they don't make the playoffs that year, or they don't win that playoff game, I don't know if he gets that contract.
Well, no.
I think that was again,
Yeah.
that's why I'm so
I can't see how they would give it to him.
exactly
He
right.
should have never gotten in the first place.
Yeah.
I mean, it really could be boiled down to something really simple. As anybody who watched Daniel Jones play quarterback never said he was a good quarterback, and then they paid him $40 million.
Facts.
Like I
Facts,
never
facts,
remember,
facts.
and I mean, I can't even remember a game when you or a play where you're like, wow, this guy might be pretty good. Like, you could say that with Jameis, you could say that with Baker, you could say that with a lot of these guys that flamed out. Even Gardner Minshew, he had some freaking games that maybe he's got a little bit of Minshew mania out there, but Daniel Dimes never.
Till this
Never.
day, his best attribute is running. I think he's a good running quarterback.
Yeah. But to sum it up, fuck Duke.
Yes. See you guys.
Put him in a Christian Leitner category.
Same city, cross the building. The future for Aaron Rodgers is very unclear with the New York Jets. He turns 41 a week from tomorrow. There's all this talk that, Woody Johnson's trying to just upheave the whole thing. There's talk of Rodgers is hurt, but he won't let anybody know. He won't let anybody look at him. Doesn't want to get off the field. They just brought Devontae Adams in. Like, this thing has been, this is the most Jet season of Jet seasons. And now it's like, where do you go? Right. So, if you were the Jets, would you bring him back next year?
100%.
Fuck no.
Okay.
I'm bringing him back. 100%. 100% bringing him back.
Who else is going to get? He's going to be better. He's better than anybody else.
Yeah, what are you going to bring in, Daniel Jones? First of all, here's the thing. Here's the thing, is, right? There's no one. There's really no other option out there that's going to save the Jets. Okay, here's it. Right, he's got Adams in place. He has Garrett Wilson in place, who's now he turned back into a serviceable receiver. Now he looks good with him. They got some rapport. Let him get healthy. He's only a year away from that Achilles injury. That takes time to heal. Give him back one more year. At the worst case scenario is you invested 1 year too long in a Hall of Fame quarterback when you haven't had a Hall of Fame quarterback since Brett Favre, and no one associates them with the Jets, right? So at the worst case, you're still the Jets for 1 more year, and then if you blow it up, there you go. But I still think you run it back. Breece Hall, that offense, get some continuity, get him a full season under his belt, get him a full off season under their belt together.
Get a good coach.
Get
a good coach.
That would be great too. That's what I'm saying. There's a lot of this is kind of more like a reset in the foundation year. Year 2, they could go forward with it, and if it doesn't, then you got to blow it up. But the Jets are used to that.
Go ahead. Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree with Tony. Like, I don't know who else you go out and get right now at this point. They have foundational pieces. I think they just need, they need to cut Rodgers off from running this program. They need to get a coach in there that's going to demand respect and get the locker room going, because the talent's there. So yeah, I don't think they have any other choice but to keep him.
I disagree with both of you. It's just too much. It's too much toxic. It's too much. It's too many issues inside that organization. We already think that the Jets is a cursed organization as it is. They haven't been in the playoffs since 2012, I believe, more than 10 years. Yes, the continuity would matter. Yes, he's coming off a torn Achilles, but what he's done is just too much, I think, for the Jets and overall view of Aaron Rodgers. The reports that are coming out where Woody Johnson said he wanted to sit him after the Broncos game, and it was an issue with Robert Slay. It was an issue with Hackett. Blah blah blah. It's just too much bullshit. It's just I'm personally over. I'm not even a Jets fan. Mm-hmm. It's ridiculous how this all has been handled. Aaron Rodgers is, it's that saying of he's overwelcomed his stay, and it's just too much. He's been like this for years, and now I'm over it. It's worse. I think this is worse than a Favre situation where Favre didn't want to come back, didn't want to retire, wanted to come back. That's what we got. We got this plus a lot more with Rodgers, and it's just it's too much.
Let me ask you something, Drew. Why are we assuming Aaron Rodgers is wrong in the situation? The Jets organization has been
because he's done it in Green Bay, and now he's doing it in New York.
he
done it
didn't
to
like the way the
organization.
direction he didn't like the way the direction was going in Green Bay, and he voiced it. And then they didn't make the changes that he wanted, so then he left. He goes into a Jets organization who has failed for, I don't know, let's say 20 years. Okay, he goes in there. He says he goes in there as a Hall of Fame. Saleh isn't making Hall of Fame. Woody Johnson, you know what he is, okay, and nobody else out there. So he went in there and wanted to shake it up a little bit, okay. Now maybe his ability isn't really matching what his bravado is saying, but I still think the best scenario is to get him there and see what you got, get some continuity, get some stability, and move it. If you say get rid of Rodgers, I'm gonna ask you this: who are you bringing in?
Nobody. I'm not bringing. I'll bring weak ass pieces because what I want to do is tank. Like you said, the worst case scenario for the Jets next year is if they're the same
How
this
can
year,
you
right?
tank with all that talent?
So I'll
How can you
tank.
tank
I'll
with all that
restart
talent?
over.
Drew,
and
many times you've
I'll get
agreed with
Archie
me.
Manning. I'll be the Archie Manning sweepstakes.
Many times you would agree with me that you can't tank in the NFL. The players don't tank in the NFL. Now you could put in it. You could have put in Tom and Cutlass, stuff like that. The other thing too is, let me ask you this.
The roster's too good.
Aaron Rodgers had nothing to do with the Hassan Reddick bullshit. He had nothing to do with Sauce Gardner not able to cover anybody now. I mean, he went from hot sauce to sweet sauce. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he is just trash.
The whole defense is trash.
So how's that a Rodgers problem?
Tony, you could also attribute that to cancer, where cancer is in your organization and it stems to everything. That's why, yes, he said what he wanted to say to Green Bay to get things right. And did he get paid? He did get paid. And when he got paid and got what he wanted, what happened? Everything fell apart. Teammates were going after him in Green Bay. He wasn't listening to his head coach. They are having issues.
I wouldn't listen to that head coach either. I don't blame him for not listening to him. He's a fucking
Why
idiot.
wouldn't you listen? LaFleur's a good head coach, is he not?
I don't know.
Look
We'll
what he's doing
see.
with Jordan Love.
We'll see.
Look what Jordan Love did last year. You cannot tell
And
me
look what he's doing this year. You don't know what Jordan Love shows up game in, game out.
Here's a question.
Listen, he doesn't have to respect a guy like LaFleur because he's done it and LaFleur hasn't.
I'm not talking about respect. I'm talking about at least showing the fact that you're listening to the coach and getting along with him, because that affects everything else in the organization. A cancer is a cancer.
That don't affect Sauce Gardner. That don't affect Sauce Gardner getting beat like a drum.
I'm not saying it does. I'm saying the multiple problems in New York can't affect that.
We know Rodgers is a malcontent and is difficult to deal with. But you're talking about the Jets organization that's been a dumpster fire for years. I'm not throwing this all on Aaron Rodgers. You can't.
I'm not throwing it all on Aaron Rodgers, but when you are the quarterback of a franchise and you are not taking any accountability for your actions and what you're doing, that stems to everybody else.
I like the way
I love Aaron Rodgers.
I like the way it sounds with Aaron Rodgers coming back, with Tay Adams, with Wilson, with Conklin, with Breece Hall, with Brandon Allen. Get them a full year under the belt, get them an offseason, and see where you go, and see if you can bring in a coach in there to figure out that defense.
That's what I was going to ask you, right? So is the job more attractive with Aaron Rodgers under center or less attractive with Aaron Rodgers under center? Because that's going to be a factor of who's going to take that job.
Oh, it's easy. It's easy to know who's coming there, right? Let's write the storybook of the NFL. It's Mike McCarthy. Mike McCarthy being the New York Jet next year.
Oh, I wasn't expecting that one.
That would be fun.
He's not going to be the Dallas coach next year.
He's not.
He is definitely going to be unemployed.
The way Rex Ryan's been talking, it's not like Rex Ryan.
Oh. Rex Ryan might have one foot in that door, but the other one's not there.
Listen, a coach will be foolhardy to not accept the challenge of working with a Hall of Fame quarterback like Aaron Rodgers.
If the Jets go a different direction, right? Can you think of any team right now? And I think I only have one in my head that Rodgers would just go to, and it's kind of ironic if you think about it.
I got one.
Yeah.
I don't think it will happen. It all depends on the situation, how they do in the postseason. He goes home. San Francisco 49ers.
I wasn't thinking about that. That's got
Brock Purdy's on the last year of his deal. They don't know what they're going to do with him yet. And now this shoulder injury compared to a couple years ago where he had the full on Tommy John. You know, there's been little swirlings and rumors talking about Rodgers going back to San Francisco for his final year. Why not?
What if he went to the Raiders now that Devontae
they're not a contender?
They're not. But again, I hear you. But like, where else would he go? Like, generally speaking, contenders have quarterbacks.
Yeah,
Well,
he's
sometimes you
Could
don't
he?
think the Eagles have a
Follow?
quarterback.
Hold on. Could he follow the Favre trajectory to Minnesota?
yeah. No, there's no room for him
I don't
there.
think so either.
There's no room for him there. Yeah.
They're happy with JJ and Sam. They ain't gonna get rid of that.
That's funny.
I could see him winding up in a spot like the Miami Dolphins. You know, if they're interested in Danny Jones, they might
Quick, I was just gonna say Miami.
just throw him out there, let him get the ball to T.
Sling
Hill,
it.
Waddle, and that guy just kind of orchestrate offense like that.
That'd be nasty.
You know, they have a lot of offensive talent already. You know, I don't think Rodgers would take a spot where he would be coming in as a backup at all.
No.
So I just think that's too ego driven.
He'd hang it up for that.
So is you know, his list is shorter and shorter. You know, there's some spot, especially with some of these rookie quarterbacks like Drake May and Bo Nix and them guys kind of showing that they could play a little bit. Notice I didn't mention that guy in Chicago either.
Yeah.
But you know, you're limiting your options. Jacksonville, new head coach comes down there, you know, put some parts together. Indy, I mean, that's been a trend of theirs. You know, I mean, you know, Phillip Rivers, Matt Ryan,
Tennessee?
Aaron Rodgers. Why not? You know?
Everyone keeps saying Tennessee because he has house and land out there, I guess.
Well, speaking of that guy in Chicago, I know it's early. It's only been 12 weeks for all these guys. Some haven't even seen the field yet for any substantial period of time. But let's have a snap judgment. If you went back and looked at the first round of the 2024 NFL draft and the order in which the quarterbacks went, Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, Drake May, Michael Penix Jr., J.J. McCarthy, Bo Nix. If you were redrafting, Anthony, would you take the same guy?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not mad at Ant for saying that at all because, I mean, that was the clear, concise number one, although he did have some issues, superstar power, everything like that. But I had Drake May ahead of everybody in this class. Just because what he did before he had the issues down in North Carolina with that roster. I definitely had him over Jaden Daniels too. I understood that Caleb was going to go one, but I had May a solid 2. You know, and we'll see what happens with that. But I mean, Jaden Daniels is really a surprise how well he's playing. We'll see if he keeps up the second half of the season because I mean he has a lot of similarities. I mean, you know, with the one big year at LSU, kind of coming out of semi nowhere. Bo Nix's success is extremely surprising because of his experience. I mean, Auburn and Oregon, and then, you know, and then where he's at. I mean, who he's with, and you know, Penix and McCarthy. I you know,
You have no idea.
It looks like actually the McCarthy pick looks pretty good with Aaron Rodgers' development because he would have been able to sit and develop, and that's kind of what he would. I mean, not Aaron, Sam Darnold's development, and you know. And sit out there and see what it is. So we couldn't be too mad at either of those picks. The Michael Penix pick was a little bit more peculiar because they were in a win now mode. I definitely wouldn't have drafted them.
Yeah, look at Atlanta now. If they actually take somebody who's helping them.
Yeah, right tackle.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, Kirk Cousins. Everybody knew Kirk Cousins was coming in and be what Kirk Cousins was, right? I mean, it's not a surprise what he's doing. Great games, bad games, whatever. But Penix is just sitting there watching it. It just doesn't make sense.
It don't. And way to stand on 2 feet, man. I'm proud of you.
Listen, it is. I don't think it's not the quarterback. I have no issues with the quarterback this year. It's not the quarterback. It was the correct pick. You fleeced Carolina. You got lucky. That's the pick you make. That's it. There's nothing else to it. The guy's good. He needs coach. He needs to figure out. He
needs a line.
Yeah, I mean the Lions played better the last 2 weeks. They played well last week. He was getting the ball out. The offense looked a lot better. I mean, this coach looks like he has a plan. Waldron had no plan. It was like picking from the Madden playbook watching him. So I mean, I am going to stand on it. I think he's the best quarterback. He could run the ball. He could read defenses. He could do that stuff. He needs opportunities. He needs to be coached better. That's it.
Well, where I will agree,
Brian.
Where I will agree with a long-standing point that you've made, Anthony, is that the idea that you have a defensive head coach with a top overall pick rookie quarterback is the dumbest thing. I mean, it's an offensive game, right?
Yes.
Like how many think around the league like defensive head coaches? Like that's a defensive coordinator, right? Like it is a game where you win with dynamic offense for the most part, right?
Correct.
So like you need to get somebody in there that's going, not a Cliff Kings, but like that, like that's what they brought Kyler in for originally.
Ben Johnson.
Right.
From Detroit would have been the perfect fit for.
Well, he wasn't going. He wasn't going anywhere.
Give him the kitchen sink.
So it's this year. Yeah, it's this year.
No, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Give him the kitchen sink, bro.
I mean,
but
you need
Brian,
you need guys like that. What you're talking about?
So Brian, it went Bears, Redskins, and then Patriots.
Yep. And then Falcons.
Obviously all three are the right picks.
Yeah, they all hit. They all hit.
Yeah, I had it ranked Caleb, Jaden, Drake, and then my fourth guy was going to be JJ, and then my fifth was Penix. Now looking at it, everything, the fourth pick overall was Arizona Cardinals. They got Marvin Harrison Jr. The fifth pick was Joel. The sixth pick was OJ. The sixth pick was the Giants.
Neighbors.
Instead of taking Neighbors, I personally would have taken the way Hard Knocks look. These guys were trying to trade up and get Drake May. They were trying to trade up and get Jaden Daniels. Mm-hmm. They knew that Caleb Williams was gone. So if those two guys are gone, now looking at everything now, I would have taken Bo Nix.
Bo Nix he's not going to be Bo Nix though, playing for the Giants.
Correct. I would agree with that.
You know what I mean? It's just not.
I don't know.
He fell into the
right. I see a lot of talent from that kid right now, man. I know the defense is really good at Denver, but what Brian Dabble could. I still believe in him as a developer and a quarterback whisperer. He changed Josh Allen's life. Like we cannot forget that. He changed when he came in and developed him to where he is today. Yes, Brady is doing great over there at OC at Buffalo, but I'm telling you, man, I think Daniel Jones is a lost cause in New York for everything that's going on. Bo Nix, I think, would have some type of success. Malik Neighbors, these receivers, they're talented, but if you don't go to a team that has so many issues that you need to fix, why are you drafting him? This is why I'm so proud the Chargers didn't draft him. This is why I'm so proud the Chargers didn't go receiver. They went offensive line. Brian knows I stood two. I was undecided between those two.
No shit, because they hired a good coach. And that's what
the two of you. But you need your receivers can't do.
You remember this one?
Yeah, I do.
I told you at least 3 or 4 times. Oh, jeez. Oh man,
that was one of my older.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
I think Locke on the Giants is a very similar player to Bo Nix. Even in college, I think they were two similar players.
Running ability?
Not running ability, but the arm talent and passing. I thought they were very similar players.
No. Quiggs.
Yes, sir.
Redraft, if you will, the quarterbacks in the first round. Any changes to anything we've seen?
Yeah. I mean, I don't agree. I mean, I agree with Ant that I don't think the Caleb Williams problem is all Caleb Williams, but I'm gonna have to go with Daniels, May, Williams, Nix. They showed it.
And to be honest, I think Drake May has a chance to be better than everybody. I mean, just how he's playing with what he has right now, I think he looks really good.
Well, I mean, Jason, run your offense to your quarterback strengths, what level of talent. And this is the thing. Is anybody? I mean, the receivers.
That's why Shea Walter is fired.
But again, why are the Giants taking a receiver there? Why are the Bears taking a receiver there? I mean, less so because at least the Bears had a quarterback they were trying to build around. You still go to the offensive line talent.
That pick is more egregious than the Giants pick. Is the Bears?
The Bears
picking Roma Dunze. But we all been saying it, but me, Quig, have been saying it since the draft. You do the best you can to protect your investment. Their investment is this draft. You had guys there. Tone did it Quig did it last week. We went through all the picks after Roma Dunze. You had Felician. You had all these guys that could fill into right tackle, which is an issue on the right side of the O line right now for the Bears. And you could have protected Caleb. That's an issue.
They had just drafted. They drafted right the draft before. They addressed the offensive line there. I'm telling the offensive line they felt was set. Okay, so that's the reason they did it. And Roma Dunze is playing well. I don't know what you're talking about. I mean, he literally caught 2 passes last week that got him in the field goal range. He's got a connection with Caleb Williams, so he's playing well. They got the block. I mean, it's the offensive setup. You know, you could blame the offensive line, but it's also the play calling. It's a lot of things that attribute to that. They're injured also. They're missing guys.
But here's
so the GM assumed he had a set offensive line, which he did, and they played well at the end of the year last year. So he was just duped. That's all. I mean, it's plain and simple. He thought he was set there.
So
you're not gonna have Keenan Allen for that whole contract. So now so when he leaves, you're gonna have a second guy stepping in cheaper. So I mean, I can see why he did it. And the guy's he's playing well. So I'm not gonna defend. I'm not gonna go with the whole lineman thing. I'm just not.
Real quick, Drew. Neighbors went before Joe Alt, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, after.
After.
Yeah.
After.
Okay. Well, I just want to bring this up again because, that's not what I wanted to do. Yeah, that's what I wanted to do. So this goes back to when the Bengals took Jamar Chase over Penei Sewell, and I'm going to maintain the same thing here: is you need to protect your quarterback. And that's what the Chargers did. How many times, Drew, did we mock the Chargers taking a receiver for months? Months.
I know. Months.
How's Joe Alt working out?
Great.
Any regret?
He's on a historical pace.
That also goes to the mindset of the quarterback that you brought in
the
to coach
coach.
the team.
Yeah, the coach.
Yeah, I said the quarterback you brought in to coach the team. You know, he I watched him at Michigan. I watched him with Ant's boys back in the day. I watched him with the Colts. I mean, he was that game manager that had some moxie that wanted to run the ball, and he understands that's how you can win football games. So he brought that right to the Chargers, you know, and it was the right move, and I think it could have been there's a few other teams that I think could have went on a limb and took all the Redskins was one of them, you know, over Daniels. I mean, I probably thought Joe Alt was probably the best player in the draft. So,
last but not least, the tightest division, top to bottom in the NFL, is the NFC West. Make a call. Who wins it? Arizona 6-4. The rest are 5-5.
I'm standing on the Rams. I picked the Rams in the beginning of the year. I'll stand on the Rams.
I picked them in the beginning of the year too. But I don't know that loss that they had against Miami.
That was
that's going to be
that was an ugly loss.
It's just a weird game.
It was a bad game. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we all did. I think we all picked the Rams on the NFC West. I picked the Rams as well. They're a game out, right?
Rams are everybody's 5-5, and the Cards are 6-4.
6-4, yeah.
Okay, so they're 2 games out because they lost.
It'll be a big win for the Cardinals today if they do beat Seattle because it gives them the division win.
And that game's a coin toss.
Yeah,
coin toss.
Cardinals and Seahawks.
Yeah.
Well, we mentioned it before the show. We'll mention it now. There's a lot of high lines today. There is exactly one game where both teams are currently over 500 today. That's actually not today. It's tomorrow night. But we will start with a game which is not much of a coin flip, and that is in the NFC East as the Dallas Cowboys visit the Washington Commanders, who are 7-4. Usually this is the other way around. Dallas is normally a double-digit favorite in these games, but today it's the Commanders minus 10 and a hook. 45 is the number. Dallas has the 3rd worst point differential in the NFL at minus 106. They've allowed 30 or more points 5 times, which is tied for the worst in the NFL. Jaden Daniels, we were just talking about, his 68.7% completion is the highest ever by a rookie with a minimum of 200 attempts. They're happy with that pick, even if May plays. I think that they're perfectly fine. Tony, you know what? I look forward potentially to Thanksgiving and just a matchup between Cooper Rush and Tommy DeVito. And I regret the fact that I no longer go Thanksgiving Day shopping because it's all online because I have no interest in watching that game. But
that's funny.
NFL players don't tank. Cowboys need to lose every damn game the rest of the season. End statement.
Yeah, I mean, if it's kind of. It's kind of damning and disheartening because if you look at the last 2 games that they played, they were in both of them in the first half. I mean, they were fight. They were both of them. Zeke Elliott makes the fumble in the end zone that really hurt them, and then in the second half they just get the doors blown off. which it shows you that there's no halftime adjustments being made. They don't continue to fight. They kind of give up, which isn't a bad thing. But even where we go with the O-line, I don't in the off season, probably if we get a high pick, I don't think we're going quarterback anyway. So, we'll see what happens with that, if tanking is worth it. I don't think you get up there to get a guy like Travis Hunter or something like that high enough. You do make a splash with Shooter or Sanders, but this game here, I mean, it'll probably be close it probably gets close when it starts, like they have in the last two games. It is a division game, and then Washington should kind of. It just freaks me out when I look down and I see Commanders still.
It's going back.
Yeah, exactly. Washington will probably pull away. I mean, I think Brian Robinson Jr. has a big game. Scary Terry gets back on. Everybody's out for Dallas too. I mean, Zach Martin. I mean, I don't know if this is a pity benching or what, because he has been awful. I mean, you're talking first ballot Hall of Fame, his first years in his career, and he hits this year and he can't cover. I mean, he can't block anybody. Speaking about can't cover, Trevon Diggs, unless he's making a big play, he's just kind of been out there. Unfortunately, Marquise Bell just went on the IR as well. He's kind of lost a lot of shine to Overshown. But I mean, Marquise Bell is a kid from Bridgeton down here that I coached against. He unfortunately is done for the year after he had a great year last year. So there, I mean, it seems like they're packing it in the right way, just IR and putting everybody on the bench. It's just difficult. Just I don't want to see something stupid happen like the Cowboys win.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you don't want them to win. A couple things in this game today. I actually, props wise, I really like both Commanders running backs today. I like Eckler to score also. He's been very involved in that offense, reception wise, and in the running game. So I'm gonna go with Robinson and Eckler today on a combined touchdown parlay. Give me that, and I don't know. Staying away from the number today. Give me those two guys.
Not much to say this game. I got the Commanders winning this game, obviously. It's kind of crazy too with the Zach Martin thing. I believe him and Brandon Cooks didn't even travel with the team. I think they're still in Texas. So it's kind of crazy how far Zach Martin has fallen this year, as Quigg alluded. Cowboys are just chalk them up as another team in the offseason of interest. It's going to be really interesting to see what the Dallas Cowboys are going to do moving forward once the Super Bowl is over.
Oh, they're stealing the offseason.
And you know what?
Oh, it's going to be every day.
Yeah. I think Jerry loves that.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I don't think he
cares.
More camera time, more radio time.
Asking him questions, to talk to me about my team because they're bad. Yeah. I hate Jerry Jones. NFC North battle. The Vikings visiting the Bears. Minnesota's laying 3 in this game. The over-under is 39.5. For Minnesota, Van Ginkel leads the NFL with 13 tackles for loss, the third player since 82 with 8+ sacks and multiple pick sixes in one season. The Bears have the toughest remaining strength of schedule in the NFL, a .729 with a combined 51-19 record. So if anybody's trying to build a bear with that quarterback, I don't know that this last plate's going to be overly helpful, Anthony.
No, Brian. Brian, today I'm just going to sit back and I'm going to see how the Bears are going to lose this week. You know what I mean? It's like I'm watching last week. Coach has got 40 seconds in a timeout. He don't run the ball to get closer for the field goal kicker. And I just sat there lining. They lined that kick up, and I said he's going to miss it. He's going to miss it, and something's going to happen, and it did. So I don't know how a coach has to get fired. I mean, it's crazy. But as of today, I actually like the Bears today. I'm bumping it up to 3.5. I'm taking the hook. Bears at home. I think that they play well at home, and I'm gonna roll with them today. I'm gonna bump it up, like I said, 3.5. Give me the Bears.
We got the Vikings winning this game. That's all I got on it.
I think the Vikings win the game. I think Jefferson gets off back to Jefferson kind of style. I think the key here is if Brian Flores could scheme up something to give Caleb Williams some fits. I think that's what's going to happen with some of the blitzing and stuff Flores likes to do. I think it's going to infect Williams. I don't know what's the status of DeAndre Swift. I know he was banged up a little bit. Rashawn
Yeah.
Johnson's been getting active in there, so I think the over under is 39 might be a little bit low. I think there could be some points scored. In this game.
Swift and Allen are active.
Yeah. So
it's low. The Bears aren't scoring. That's for sure. So that's why it's low.
At home division game, I could see the Bears putting up 14, 21-14 gives you right around that number, right? They're good at that.
Well, you know who is scoring? The Detroit Lions, 9-1 at the 5-6 Colts, 7.5-point line, 50.5. They lead the NFL in point differential and points per game at 33.6. They are the 7th team ever with 3 wins by 38 or more in the same season. The only bright spot for Indianapolis, given their quarterback hot potato, is Alec Pierce leads the NFL 22.7 yards per reception because everything's deep when it goes to Alec Pierce. Look, Richardson's back. They won last week. I was a vocal critic of that whole thing. We kind of argued about, the pros and the cons of what they did there, but he's going to be the quarterback moving forward. They're 5-6. I don't think they make the playoffs, although they are, I guess they're in the discussion for that last spot. They're a full game behind the 6-5 Broncos. The Bengals losing helps them tremendously, who are now 4-7. I don't know. Colts have a lot of purgatory to me right now. I mean, I don't know about that quarterback. You got to play him to find out. I wasn't a huge fan of the pick, obviously. Definitely a project. Jay says Goff going for 3 touchdowns. It might be 4. This game won't be pretty.
I don't know.
I agree.
Every single betting matrix that you're looking at, Anthony Richards covering, 7-point dog covering, everything says that the Indianapolis Colts cover this game. It's like 9-1, 9-3, like any different thing that you're looking at. Colts as home dog over 7 points is like 8-1. I mean, there's so many things in history that backs up that the Colts show a nice little active game here and cover. But it's really going to be. We're going to see what kind of Detroit Lions team. They just came off a huge blowout, right? They have a short week coming up with their Thanksgiving game. I mean, a little bit of a trap game, a little bit of a letdown. Indianapolis can come out and show some fight at home. This might be a game that it starts, getting a little bit closer than people kind of realize, and make some of these people that took the Lions -7 and a hook a little bit uncomfortable. I'm not touching this game. I do.
Yeah, come on, touch it. You want it?
No, I am touching Jahmyr Gibbs rushing and receiving. I am touching Ross St. Brown. I'm touching Laporta anytime touchdown. But I just don't know if the Colts could get a track meet with Detroit and kind of keep it there. And Detroit's going to have to stop the run. John Taylor has been putting up some nice numbers. Had a good week last week. And see what has Richardson. So if the Lions go out there and blow the Colts' doors off, they're putting the entire NFL on notice, because I think last week, everybody could kind of come out there with the firepower that the Lions have. And if they come out and they blow out the Colts again 2 weeks in a row with just straight domination against teams they should dominate, you could tell that they're focused and they're hitting on all cylinders. So we'll see if hitting on all cylinders in Thanksgiving in November is going to be what they need. So and to keep it up. So we'll see. I think that Indianapolis comes out and gives them a little bit of fight.
That's what I was going to be my defense for the Colts, Tony. Is it's going to be keep away. They're going to have to run the ball with Taylor and Richardson, time of possession football, key third down stops when they can, and that's how they're going to win this game.
First down. Every first down is important because if they could get a good chunk on first down.
And I think Richardson's playing well. He's been playing better. He's got a rapport with Downs, who's been playing well, and like we just talked about, Pierce throwing the deep ball. So I think they have a chance to stay in this game. I'll take the 7.5. I'll go. I'm saying this week. I feel this weekend's a doggy week. A lot of weird lines. I'm going to take the 7.5.
I'm on the opposite end. I think the Detroit Lions are going to absolutely kick ass today and blow the Indianapolis Colts out the water.
And they're not going to let up. I mean, their coach already said that after what happened in the playoffs, they're not letting up. They're just going to keep pouring on.
Yeah, I just see the Lions just firing on all cylinders and being the team that they've been showing us that they've been all year. I think we're going to see a lot of St. Brown. Maybe Laporta might show up a little bit today. That dual head monster at running back is absolutely disgusting. They like to call themselves Sonic and Tails, and I guess we'll be seeing what we do today. I love what Jay said, dude. I'm going to give me Goff for 3 touchdowns today. I think it's going to be a feast today for the Lions as they get ready for Thursday.
I think Detroit's going to start this trend with these running backs again. There's going to be teams that are going to concentrate on getting 2 good running backs, and it's going to revert back. I think a lot of teams are going to follow this.
The one thing I could see if Detroit does get out early, it could be some fancy heartbreak for some people because Gibbs might sit, Montgomery might sit, like they might sit some people a little bit earlier than normal coming out to a Thanksgiving game. So
especially those deep roster ones like Jameson Williams, who really doesn't really get it's a boom or bust, and so he's not going to have the boom if they're going to be scoring 4 or 5 touchdowns in the first half.
Who would you play today at quarterback, Pat Mahomes or Jared Goff?
I'd stay with Goff. Goff's got the hot hand.
Mahomes.
I'd go Mahomes. Playing Carolina. Go Mahomes.
It's interesting.
I like Goff indoors.
Well, so actually, I'm glad you brought that up. So the Lions really can't take their foot off the gas because they would love home field in the NFC.
Yeah, they can't.
They would love to play all those games indoors on the way to the Super Bowl. They're only one
huge advantage.
Huge, and look, they've not played outdoors that much this year. They've only played at Green Bay. What? Everything else has been a dome.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah. So their schedule has been home to the Rams, home to the Bucs, at Arizona, home to Seattle, at Dallas, at Minnesota, Tennessee, at Green Bay, the outdoor game, at Houston, hosting Jacksonville.
Yeah, it was like week 8. I remember they went like the first 8 or 9 weeks without playing outside.
Yeah, it's just the Green Bay game. Now the rest of the way, they're in Indy today. That's a dome. They host the Bears. That's a dome. They host the Pack. That's a dome. They host the Bills. That's a dome. They got 2 games where they go to Chicago and to San Francisco. Then they got Minnesota at home. They got three outdoor games all year.
So they've only played 1 game
in Green Bay
so far.
They're chilling. It's 70 degrees.
Who did they play last week again, Brian?
They hosted the Jags.
I mean, if you're in Detroit, you don't want to play outside anyway, right? Might get shot.
Yeah, facts.
After the weather, you might get shot.
So, I mean, again,
but then again, it did happen in KC.
Like,
so
I don't look. They can win the NFC if they have to go on the road. I'm not saying that they can't, but they would much prefer to have those games indoors. Absolutely.
You could say every team in the NFL would much rather have their game indoors at home. That's
no, I know, but I'm saying for that team specifically. Like, I just feel like it's greatest show on turf type stuff.
No, not at all. They could run the ball. They could shove the ball down your throat with Gibbs. They could show you. I don't have a fear on this team.
Their offensive line is mean.
Worrying about playing outside. Now, if you throw some awful conditions out there and that kind of stuff, then I think that affects both teams, though. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you can't come out here and say some of these guys are great bad weather quarterbacks because I don't even know if that exists anymore.
I give both votes.
I think the Lions win. Pats Dolphins used to be a lot more fun. Now not so much. 3-8 at 4-6. Miami's laying 7 and a hook. 46 is the number. Pats are 0-4 when May throws the ball 30 or more times. 2-0 when he doesn't. Miami's never made the playoffs with a 4-6 start. They do, however, have the 3rd easiest schedule remaining in the National Football League, and that schedule goes a little bit something like this. They host New England today. They go to Green Bay. That's not fun. They host the Jets. They go to the Texans, which that's not fun. They host the Niners, and they go to the Browns, and they go to the Jets. So a couple tough games in there. I don't know that they finish above 500 at that rate. They probably win today, but they probably don't beat Green Bay. They probably don't beat Houston. This is an 8-9 team. 7-10. But they'll probably win today.
This is one of I really like this game today. I like the Patriots today, plus 7.5. I really do. I think Drake May's playing well. They moved the ball up and down the field. They gave the Rams some trouble. I don't think that, like you said, I don't think the Dolphins are anything special right now, especially offensively. Nothing's impressive. They're dinking and dunking, not throwing the ball down the field. Waddle's not involved. It's really all Achane. And then now they're dinking and dunking the hill. So Patriots defense last 3 weeks have been playing pretty well. So I'm gonna roll with the Patriots here. I might even sprinkle a little on the money line. I could see Drake May going there and beating these guys. He's riding there with some confidence.
You forgot to add in there a little Jonathan Smith, who's absolutely been killing it these last 3 weeks.
Fantasy wise, yeah.
And reality wise, he's opening up a lot of doors. He's helping Achane a lot with the quick screens and the rushes. He's a great blocking tight end. He's showing that a lot this year. He's been a little bit of a secret weapon this year for Miami, especially with the lack of the deep ball throw, because Tua's not throwing any deep balls.
No.
As he came back. Waddle, you're absolutely right, hasn't been involved in the offense, which is weird from a consistent standpoint. Offensive line has been doing their job so far, keeping Tua upright. But the story of the year for Miami, obviously besides the two in the offense, is their defense. Their defense is really sneaky. They're playing really good, up to the standards that you would hope that both sides, all three phases of the team would be playing to the standard of the defense, and they could easily be a playoff team. They have a shot to make it. And they gotta win a bunch of games in order to get there. But I just don't see it happening. I'm with Tone. I'm taking the Patriots. I think the Patriots are going to have a nice little upset win today. I think Miami's favored by 7.5. I'm gonna go New England here. I like what Drake May's doing. I like what New England's doing. I think that defense is gonna do what they can. Yeah, they got embarrassed in the second half against the Rams, but let's see if they can play a full 4 quarters. And I'm gonna go Patriots here.
This is a little scary because we're all going Patriots.
I'll take Miami.
I mean, listen, I watched the clip of the Dolphins last week. The head coach McDaniel, he's just a clown. I can't pick him. I'll never. he was out there heckling Max Crosby. He was actually heckling Max Crosby, and he was talking shit to him and everything like that. And then he goes LOL. And he goes,
what? Can someone tell you why that was big? Like, who gives a shit? Why does that matter?
What's that?
I don't understand. Why was that such a viral thing? I don't get it.
Because it's such a dork move to say LOL while you're talking.
Dude. I'm gonna change the play, but not change the play.
LOL. Like, who says LOL? You say LOL when I'm talking to you. I'm looking at you and like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, and I'll never support him or anything Dolphins related again, except Devon.
That's it. They're on the list.
So I was going to ask this question. Jay brought it up. Is McDaniels coming back next year?
Why wouldn't he?
Yeah, I think he does.
Who are they going to bring in? I mean, like, it's not a team that like a guy like Vrabel would want to jump to. It's what are they going to bring back Brian Flores because he has a nice defense? I mean, I don't know.
Go back to Miami, Brian Flores.
Yeah, it's kind of like I told you, y'all, kind of shit like that,
Oh, dude, 1,000%, I'm with you, brother. I'm with you.
I like Drake May running today. I think he gets some yards on the ground, and he's plus 330 for an anytime touchdown. I like that. Here's some Drake May today.
Quick, you don't think Vrabel would be enticing because of how good that defense is playing? Bringing an offensive coordinator that could do what he can.
You'd have to. I don't know if Vrabel would be embraced by a guy like Tua, who is mentally fragile.
Physically,
I don't know if Vrabel wants to get in the mess of Tyreek Hill.
Mentally fragile, physically fragile.
Well, is Tyreek Hill there next year? He always.
Well, we'll see. That's what I'm saying. If Miami wants to go in a different direction and bring in a coach to kind of just make it more of a defensive, themed team and everything like that. I mean, Vrabel will be one of my first picks, but
Matt Eberflus might be available right here.
As the team is constructed now, I don't see them moving on from McDaniels.
I don't see it either, too. I think he's coming back for another year.
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers bring a 4-6 record into MetLife, which would be the best team in MetLife today, as the Giants are 2-8. Tampa Bay is laying 6.5. The over-under is 40.5. Tampa Bay has lost 4 straight, but they're all to teams that are 500 or better, despite scoring 20-plus points every game. The Giants don't score that much at home, 10.6 points per game. That is the fewest by a team since the 2000 Cleveland Browns.
2000. Who's our quarterback? 2000.
Tim Couch?
Tim
Couch.
Yeah.
Tim Couch, probably. Right?
Couch.
He was probably
Should be
quarter,
Couch.
right?
Around that. It's around that.
The 2000 Cleveland Browns. It was the second season. Yeah, so the quarterback must have been. They took Courtney Brown first overall in that draft that year.
Penn State. Yeah, Penn State.
Was Couch on the team?
He had one, maybe two.
Couch probably came in 2002.
I don't think Courtney Brown was a real
No.
Yeah.
It was the second season of the new Browns. Well, because it says their quarterbacks on that team were Jeff Brom, Tony Graziani, and Doug Peterson.
Wow. That's a trivia. That's a great trivia question right there.
Where the hell was Tim Couch?
2002.
He was drafted in 2002?
I think so.
No, I thought that was.
He was the 99 draft, first round, first
that's what I
pick.
thought.
Courtney Brown was the pick after him.
Yeah.
He was 90. I don't know where he was then. Was he just not playing?
Who gives a shit? Alex sucks ass anyways. Let's move on.
All right.
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I want them to win this game. From a personal standpoint, I want to see a race in the NFC South. I'm not happy at all to see what the Atlanta Falcons have done the last 2 weeks. They have a bye today. They needed it desperately. They've been absolutely dog shit. I'm going Tampa Bay here to win this game against the Giants and Tommy Clutches, whatever the hell you want to call his ass. And Baker Mayfield and Mike Evans game is coming back today. That's what I'm most intrigued about, is seeing Mike Evans continue that 1,000-yard streak. I think he's 600-something yards away from it. I think he could do it. Starts today. I got the Buccaneers winning this game, and from a personal standpoint, I want to see Baker and the Bucs make the playoffs. So I think they can. I think they can create some ways.
Drew,
Buccaneers.
I think the Bucs could still win the South. Right now on DraftKings, they're plus 300 to win the South. I mean, they could catch.
I'll take that bet.
Yeah, they could catch the Falcons easily. I think Baker's playing really well. I like him today. Baker 2 touchdowns. I like Mike Evans on a touchdown coming back. Give me Tampa Bay today. I'll take the 6.5 and roll with Tampa Bay.
I mean, I'm agreeing with you guys, but what a stinky line 6.5 is, right? I mean, that you see a 6.5. It just smells.
It scares me. What scares me about the Giants is their defense. They have a sneaky good defensive line that could be disruptive.
Yes, they do.
Their front
that could get to Baker. That's the only thing that really concerns me, but I think that could be overcome with the talent.
And Baker could always become Baker again at any moment and throw a stupid pick or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like the line scares me, but everything Bucks coming off a bye, 2-headed monster with Bucky Irvin and Rashad White actually looking like a good, then you got Mike Evans coming back, I mean
Otten.
Listen, you mentioned Jonnu Smith earlier. I one league I got Trey McBride, Kate Otten, and Jonnu Smith at tight end, and
nice.
I picked up. I mean, Otten and Jonnu Smith were pickups. I mean, they weren't really high drafts or anything prior to the season.
Not bad flex options.
Yeah, it's just like damn, like all right, but so I everything shows that Buccaneers should go in there and just dominate. They do have some issues on defense of their own. I mean, I'm not ever picking Cutlets to win a game, and he's not going to win this one. I think Bucks win, Bucks cover, but whenever you see a 6.5 line, it just kind of scares you.
You better hope Cutlets wins on Thursday.
No, I will not cheer for them to lose on Thursday.
I mean, the bright side for the Giants, I mean, props wise, I mean, I like Tracy Jr. today, at least 60 yards, possibly a touchdown going against that Bucks defense. He's been a real bright spot for them. So, for the Giants side, I like Tracy. I think he's going to get a good workload. I actually plugged him in a league today, this morning.
I do want to say something real quick, Brian, about the Tampa Bay. Quig alluded to it, and then Ant said it on our last game. I do think on a running back situation, I do think it's not going to be a 2-headed monster. I think it's going to be a 3. as we move into the years. I think we're going to see a 3-headed rotation for running backs because they also have Sean Tucker, and I do see a lot of teams moving into that. I watched a podcast the other day, and a bunch of coaches and GMs were saying that they're seeing the running back position evolve into a rotational piece where that's going to be the main. We're going to have like a guy get 10 to 12 carries, but you're also going to see other cats come in a lot more to give those guys, that main guy, a lot more time to rest. Blah blah blah. Just something to spit out there to see that we could probably see a trend happening in the next couple of years, or 3 guys at running back.
Off topic, per Jay Glazer, Jets owner Woody Thompson arrived in his helicopter on Tuesday morning during practice, catching everyone's attention. GM Joe Douglas turned to head coach Jeff Ulbrich and said, "If they pull me off the practice field, it's been an honor to serve with you." The two initially laughed about it, but Douglas was indeed put off the practice field and fired shortly thereafter.
Wow. Joe Douglas made bad picks, but Joe Douglas made good picks. It's just someone's got to die on the sword. You know what I mean?
You can't fire the players, right?
Yep.
The 9-1 NFL leading Kansas City Chiefs visit the 3-7 Panthers, laying 10.5. 43 is the number. The Week 11 loss for the Chiefs was in Buffalo was their first since Christmas of 2023. It was their first time allowing, I think, more than 30 points since they beat the Eagles in the Super Bowl.
Yep.
Bryce Young has won back-to-back games for the first time in his short career. Probably not winning today. Just putting that out there. Chiefs are the Chiefs.
Hey, real quick, man. Shout out to Bryce Young. He's actually looked a lot better his last couple of weeks. My boy, one of my good friends, is a diehard Carolina Panthers fan. I don't know why he was dropping the kid a lot, but three straight. We give him the win for the bye, so we're gonna give him 3 straight wins there. But I obviously, guys, it's Kansas City winning this game. We'll definitely interested to see how Mahomes is going to respond to this game and offensively and this and that. But I'll definitely take the props with Kelsey. I definitely take the props with Kareem Hunt on his rushing. On the flip side with Carolina, not really much I don't think they're going to be able to do. Kansas City's defense is still pretty good. So I got Kansas City winning this one, boys.
Let's just take a time to recognize how much better looking this show got now. Okay, listen, Kareem Hunt, Kelsey, everybody gets right. I think D-Hop kind of has a little bit of show here. It'd be interesting to see, what they're able to do. It's hard to kind of fathom anything that Carolina could do on offense. Running the ball, Chuba Hubbard, and that wasn't long lived anyway. Chuba Hubbard and Brooks in the backfield now, I think would be interesting to see what they do. I do love Kareem Hunt today. I mean, Pacheco was supposed to come back and still on the IR, not ready yet. I think he was riding his dirt bike down the streets of Ireland, but so may or may not been. So I think this is a good opportunity to KC to get their offense together a little bit. See them kind of get it together. Xavier Legette, I think, see what he gets to bring, and Sanders, the rookie tight end,
Sanders,
what this Carolina team can grow and be. 10.5 should be an easy cover. Carolina hangs around a little bit behind Hubbard and his rushing.
Good call on Sanders.
Yeah, not much here. I think this is a get right for Kansas City. I think their defense, probably takes a little offense to letting up 30 points. And so I think they're going to come out today a little fired up on that side of the ball, show some efficient offense. I like Hopkins today, plus 190 on a touchdown. Even Xavier Worthy getting more touches now. He's plus 225 on an anytime touchdown. So take a look at those guys and roll with the Chiefs today.
Yeah, I don't think that. Like the line's up to 11. I don't think there's any kind of. This shouldn't be pretty. AFC South battle, the Tennessee Titans at 2-8, the Texans at 7-4, who are laying 8 at home, 40.5 is the number. Tennessee is the second most penalized team in the NFL with 82, just behind the Ravens, oddly enough, with 92. And Joe Mixon's been a great sign for the Texans, the third player ever with 10-plus rushing touchdowns in their first 8 games with the franchise. He's helped that offense quite a bit, taking some of the pressure off of C.J. Stroud. I mean, the Texans at this point look like they're pretty much going to walk away with the South. I don't think anybody thinks that the Colts are coming back, right? I think we're all in agreement that if you had to, and that's one division. I mean, there's a couple divisions I think you can call right now, Buffalo being another one. The Houston Texans are going to win the AFC South.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty easy pull right there. I like Stroud to have a good game, over 250 yards. I like Nico Collins to get right. His 70-yarder that was called back last week was personally a huge financial setback, because I had a 16 parlay that would be hit, and I had Nico anytime touchdown and over 70 yards, and that would have hit on the first play and called back and destroyed it. But I think he gets right today. I think Tank Dell. I think they exposed his Titans secondary. Joe, I think one of the other reasons is I just think Joe Mixon has a regression, because they had to give him a heavy workload the other day. He's banged up on a short week, and I think they kind of might look at like other options. You might see a lot of the RB2s come in the game and that kind of stuff. So I don't expect a huge day out of Mixon, but a huge day out of a normal day out of him is about 100 and a touch anyway, either combined. So I'm all on the Texas Packers game, and I think they cover this game pretty easily.
Yeah, I agree. I think today's a Nico day. I could see him 100 yards easily and a touchdown. I think that's the way you attack this Tennessee defense. I know they're pretty good, but I think more in the air. They're more successful. So yeah, I'm gonna take if I'm playing this game, I'm gonna take this number down to 6.5 to be safe, and I'll take the Texans.
Tennessee struggled with tight ends this year. Give me a little bit of Dalton Schultz today.
Yeah.
Also, lost my train of thought. Mike Vrabel should never have been fired, and Tennessee Titans organization sucks ass. And I am looking. Brian, you're right. The South, the Texans are definitely winning, and that's on the back of a quarterback who's having a severe sophomore slump.
Mm-hmm.
I don't expect big things unless he changes it. I don't expect big things to happen for the Texans in the postseason. I think they might be one of those teams that lose out in the WC. Other than that, which would be a disappointing year, by the way, if they do lose in the WC.
Sure. Yeah. So they have Tennessee today. They go to Jacksonville. They have a bye week. Then they host Miami.
They got to win those three.
The last 2 games. Now they end in Tennessee, but they go to Kansas City and they host the Ravens on Christmas Day. So you got the Chiefs on the 21st and the Ravens on Christmas, 4 days apart.
Oh my God.
So that will tell you, I think, what to expect from them in the playoffs. They need to prove that they can hang with the big boys. Now,
they're gonna see those guys in the playoffs.
Listen, so
they're gonna be there too.
I would say that the best win that the Texans had was when they beat Buffalo at home. I think it might have been Buffalo's first loss. Their other wins,
and even then, that game they should have lost.
So they lost.
They struggled against the Bears, and the Bears
they lost to the Jets.
Yep.
Oh yeah, that too.
So they beat the Colts. They beat the Colts. They beat the Bears. They beat the Jags. They beat Buffalo. They beat New England, and they beat Indy, and they beat Dallas. So, like, when you look at the strength of their wins, like, again, other than that Bills game, which whatever, like, nothing stands out to you to say, wow, like, that's like a signature win of the season outside of the Buffalo game. And the fact that you did lose, I mean, their losses were all on the road except for Detroit at home, which was just a knockdown, drag-out game, which they had, and they let the Lions off the hook, to quote Denver. Houston wins today, but again, I think that they're on cruise control until around Christmas time, and then you're going to see what you got in them. If they go into Kansas City and win in a cold weather game, that'll impress me.
If they can win if they can win their next 3 games and split, they'll be in a good spot.
I mean, the home game on Christmas is probably helpful.
Yeah.
Right. AFC West battle: the Denver Broncos 6-5, the Raiders 2-8. The Denver Broncos laying 5.5, 41.5 is the number. Denver leads the NFL with 39 sacks. They're on pace to break their team record of 57, set in my birth year of 1984. Brock Bowers, 706 yards, second only to Mike Ditka's 869 for a rookie tight end.
Bring him out.
What?
You mentioned my boy Ditka.
A rookie tight end in their first 10 games. So look, it was an interesting pick for the Raiders. It was a luxury pick and a vanity pick. The only thing worth watching about the Raiders is Brock Bowers. The Broncos, again, I mean, they have the inside track right now to that playoff spot, and it didn't start out well for them, right? They were 0-2.
Yeah, they didn't. Yeah.
So they're 6-3 in their last 9.
Brock Bowers breaks Dicka's record today. 17 catches, 190 yards.
I hope so.
Raiders have 193 yards of total offense.
To be fair, Chris Wilson's made this call twice, and we've kind of like laughed it off. Then he was right. So I'm just saying.
Home dog, all right.
He called the Browns to beat the Ravens, and somebody.
Yeah, I remember that.
That was a great call, by the way. I
Full
got him a lot of props on that one.
Yeah,
No, I mean, I don't think this is as erroneous as the last one. I think that the Raiders would be a little bit live. I mean, listen, Bo Nix is still a rookie. I mean, he's going to make some rookie mistakes and have those games every now and then. Raiders might show a little bit of moxie. They always do that when they have Minshew, and you could kind of see a little bit of something going on today. Only thing I'm touching this game is Brock Bowers, though. Receptions, yards, touchdown anytime, and we'll take it from there.
Yeah, 1,000%, man. If Brock Bowers had that type of candidate tone, I would definitely put him. He should already be in the conversation, but he should be close to Offensive Rookie of the Year. I mean, if he does something like that, that would be insanity. Yeah, he's proven to be fantasy-wise, he's the best tight end right now this year, which is crazy. I did not see that happening. He's multi-talented. The Raiders, overall is just there's no identity. Gardner Minshew is just a shell of himself of what he could be. Offensive line is not really playing up to the standards that I thought they could be playing up to. The defense is just the defense. It's just the Raiders. I expect Antonio Pierce to be fired in the offseason. They're going to start over anew. And Denver Broncos, man, Brian, it's going to be interesting in that last spot for the wild card. I mean, they're still breathing down the Chargers' necks at the 6th spot. Thank God the Chargers beat them earlier this year. Yeah, Broncos are going to be 7-5. Got to give credit to where credit is due with Sean Payton. He's turned this entire organization around. It looks like we'll see how he finishes the second half of the season. But definitely, if they make the playoffs, that's a win for this organization and for Sean Payton, especially trading away 2 first-round picks for him. So,
but think of it this way, right? We go back to the draft. So the Broncos took Nix at 12. The Raiders took Bowers at 13. If Nix was there at 13, he is a Las Vegas Raider.
No, yeah, 1,000%.
Absolutely.
1,000%.
So like it's kind of ironic the way those things work out. And I wonder if they went Bowers because they had nothing else. They were taking Nix. That's what their plan was.
Best player available was Bowers.
The heavy rumor was, if you remember, they were trying to trade up. They didn't trade up. They were trying to. So then Michael Penix was supposed to be the pick, but no one saw Atlanta taking him at 9 or 8 overall.
8.
Yeah.
So that was the thing that twisted everything.
9 was a vanity receiver pick.
That's what I'm saying. If you throw quarterbacks aside, I mean, outside of Marvin Harrison Jr., Joe Alt, and I mean Brock Bowers was right there as far as like the
I
best,
agree.
like true draft board, stock. So I mean he best player available. They were good to go.
Best player in the draft. A lot of people said Brock Bowers was the best player in the draft.
I mean, is Denver the most surprising team in the league?
Them and the Chargers.
I'm I'm saying no, not Arizona. I mean, they had a lot of what they had going on last year. They built up the
Both a
momentum.
year ahead.
I'm saying
Year and a
that
half.
I think it's definitely the Broncos because first of all, if you say a team with Justin Herbert is better than a team with Bo Nix starting the season, obviously, right? You're gonna be like, yeah, absolutely. I'm taking Herbert's team over Nix's team 9 times, and twice on Sunday. But I think you're looking at the way Nix is playing. I think that's more surprising than anything.
Agree.
And they don't have Jerry Jeudy. They don't have they have Cortland Sutton, Vele. I mean, their offense
Yeah.
isn't really something that you'd be like, oh, he's just jumping in a stacked offense. I mean, he's just making things happen with the guys he has.
I like him. I like him today for +2 for 225, 225 yards. I think he's going to sling it around today on the Raiders.
Bo Nix, yeah.
Yeah, I would agree.
Hey, what's his rushing?
Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
I
Do you know by chance what his rushing is?
He
30. Last week it was 35.5.
It's probably hovering
Hold
around
on.
there. He's been moving around lately, so.
Bo Nix's rushing is actually that's not it. His over under is 20.5.
Oh shit, I take that in a minute.
Yeah, I mean, Sean Payton's got him playing well. I mean, again, I harp on it. You fall into the hands of a good offensive mind, and it really helps the quarterback.
Oh, the receivers have been helpful too. Troy Franklin and Bell.
Yeah.
Those two guys that just been stepping up.
Sure. Troy Franklin was good in college. He was awesome in Oregon.
Good Oregon receiver.
Yeah.
Playoff rematch, 5-5 49ers at the 7-3 Packers. Green Bay's laying 5.5, 44.5 is the number. San Fran is plus 28-point differential. That's the best for any team below 6 wins. Green Bay is the first team to have 3 straight wins decided by somebody attempting a field goal with time expiring since the 2015 Ravens. Sorry to put salt in the wound on that one, Mr. Media. Brock Purdy's not playing today. Brock Purdy's out with a shoulder. Brandon Allen's going to be the quarterback here. This feels like a game where McCaffrey will run the ball 77 times. But this is a game again. It goes from bad to worse for the Niners. They're in last place right now. I mean, they're tied for second. But my point is that now you get a Green Bay team who's trying to keep pace with Minnesota and Detroit. This is not an easy game for them. And you look at the San Fran schedule the rest of the way. You know who they play next week?
No.
They're in Buffalo.
Oh, yeah.
So their schedule the rest of the way in Green Bay, in Buffalo, they host the Bears, they host the Rams, which I think is a Thursday night game. They go to Miami, they host the Lions, they go to Arizona. That's not looking, I mean, again, it's going to depend on what everybody else does around them, but that's not ideal.
I think the whole defensive line is banged up and
Yeah, I agree with every word you say.
You're breaking up, man. That's why I said.
We can't hear you at all.
Real quick for me, I think the 49ers. Oh, is he back on?
I think he's back. Go ahead.
Hey, Mike, you got me?
You're good.
Okay.
You're good, Neo.
You weren't.
Yeah, I heard you guys fine. Yeah, I thought I saw today that the 49ers have pretty much their whole defensive line out today. So I think it's going to be really tough today on the Niners, even if Purdy played. What's that?
Well, you said Purdy's out, right? You said that.
Yeah, even if he was playing, I think it was going to be tough on them because they're so banged up on defense.
Trent Williams might be out too, right?
Yep.
Yeah, Trent Williams might be out.
Yeah, so this team's like the walking wounded right now. So you gotta take the Packers today. I'll take the Packers -5.5.
Well, Brian, I think I'm going to stand on 2 feet today and confirm it. I don't know what it's been last time, but San Francisco 49ers are not going to make the playoffs this year. I think just too many injuries are going to bite them in the ass. Like Quig just said about Williams, it looks like he's the no-go today. I don't know why they came out and said that Brock Purdy could play next week if he needed to. Well, they need you now. If you could play next week and you're saying he could play, then I don't understand why he's not playing today. I don't get it. But if you're going to give him rest, go ahead and give him rest and see if that works out for you. The D line's out for San Francisco. George Kittle's barely hanging by a thread, but he's playing today. Debo has been getting nothing but criticism all week because of his contract and the lack of production that he is showing. No Brandon Ayuk, obviously. It's going to be CMC. It's going to be Juwan Jennings type of day today. But that's if Allen can be able to throw them the ball. I got Green Bay winning this game 8-3, and it's unfortunate because this could have been a really good game today, and then we're not going to have that now. So, I'm going to go Packers 2-3.
Yeah, I think Packers they're really going to lay it on them too. I mean, I think this is a game that they need to kind of go out there and show what it is. I mean, I really trash the Cowboys for not getting a quality backup on a good team, and I think it's one of the biggest issues on teams is not having a good backup. And the 49ers are going to roll out Brandon Allen. I mean, he's been around for a long time. Never been good at football. So I don't know what they're expecting to do here. I mean, containing McCaffrey is one thing. I mean, but how you run the ball effectively without?
No, I agree with you.
The other thing too is, I mean, you're just bracketing McCaffrey. I mean, you can man up on Jennings and them guys on the outside that they throw out there.
1,000%.
And it just makes all the dump offs and stuff like that normally a backup quarterback likes to do. It makes it even more difficult. Maybe Brandon Jennings is going to shock the world today. I mean, Brandon Allen is going to shock the world today. But I would more faith in the Jets, Brandon Allen scoring a touchdown than this Brandon Allen throwing a touchdown. So,
Packers have a quarterback, Brandon Allen or Braylon Allen.
Neither.
I think Packers win. I think Packers cover, and I think this is going to be a pretty easy one.
Jump on Josh Jacobs today. I mean, I'm telling you that without a banged up defensive line, the Packers should lean on Josh Jacobs today. Anytime touchdown, 80+ yards, you're going to get good value.
Agree.
There.
The only thing I would worry about this is they're another team that's playing on that could be in a blowout and playing on a short week.
So you're saying take Malik Willis as props?
Hey,
listen,
best winning percentage of a quarterback in Green Bay this year.
Yeah.
Jordan loves throwing interceptions too. You can take his prop.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
The NFC West leading Arizona Cardinals visiting the 5-5 Seahawks. Seattle's actually laying one in this game.
Game of the day, baby.
Number. Kyler Murray is a career high 100.8 passer rating, and he leads all quarterbacks with 8.1 yards per carry on the ground. Geno Smith's 278.1 passing yards per game leads the National Football League, and that is the most by a Seattle Seahawk ever. This is a game that's going to have playoff implications, absolutely. And again, the line was -1 Arizona. Now it's -1 Seattle. It should be a very, very tight game. I prefer Kyler to Geno Smith. I don't think that's a hot take. I kind of like Arizona in this game. I mean, unless again, it's a divisional game. So, that happens, but they played outdoors before. They played in Seattle before. I lean Arizona in this game. That they're a great story.
I think whatever team runs the ball better wins this game. I mean, yeah, it's great that Geno's leading, having a career year in passing yards and everything like that. But I think the team that wins the goal is the team that's going to be able to run the ball effectively. I mean, Benson and our boy the Terminator over there are trying to establish the run. Kyle Murray obviously is going to do some work with his legs. But if Seattle could establish the run, and it just makes everything so much easier for them. So I think that the team that's going to win the ball game is the team that's going to run effectively. I do think there's going to be some passing going on here. I do like JSN and his yards. I think he has a big game today. But when it's time to win the game, it's going to be the time they can impose their will on the team. And I think the Cardinals do that a little bit better at this point than Seattle with their running game and what they do up front. I do like the Cardinals. I'll take them. Give me the 1 point, maybe buy a hook just to make it cute. And we're going to go with the Cardinals today.
I'm going to go Seattle. I think Seattle at home is a dog, and I think the fights can be big for them. They've been playing pretty good football as of late, especially Geno. especially last week. Come back and beat the San Francisco 49ers in that final drive was phenomenal by him. JSN has been on. He's just been in his bag. He's just been killing it as of late this year. Really helping out the when the DK was hurt. He really stepped up to the plate. Ken Walker, James Conner. It's going to be a great head-to-head matchup with those two to see how well they're going to do against these defenses. But I get what Quigg's saying. Who's going to run better is going to win this game. I'm going to go a little bit step further and say that whoever has more stops is going to win this game, because I think the Seattle Seahawks, their defense needs to show up, and if there's ever a time for them to show up, it's today. Because if they win today, it changes the whole landscape of the NFC West, because then we're going to have more questions as we head to Week 13. So Seahawks at home, I got Seattle.
This is the 4:25 game that is going to run so late it gets cut off in the red zone because it's going to go to overtime. It's going to be a shootout. I could feel it. I don't know who's going to win this game, but I love the over. Give me the over 47.5. I think this is a shootout game where you're going to see 37-31. I just have that kind of feeling.
I like that.
I love JSN props today. I love his over. I like him to score a touchdown to plus 165. I mean, he's been smoking hot the last 3 games. So give me that. Connor over 60 yards rushing and a touchdown. I like him.
He's been good.
So, yeah, I think this is going to be a shootout. I think this is going to be a fun game at 4:25. So I'm rocking that over.
The Seahawks are 2-5 in their last 7 games, and they've lost 4 consecutive at home.
Wow.
They've lost to the Giants, the Niners, the Bills, and the Rams, all at home, all by at least 6 points. The last time they won a home game, was Week 3 against Miami without Tua Tagovailoa.
Ooh.
They've been bad at home. I like Arizona.
That's what I was about to mention. That 12th man left and didn't come back in this year.
Better make it 13.
That was so annoying. I don't know why that bothered me so much. The whole 12th man hype when it was good, and
Because it made no sense.
Hey,
Probably.
it was a good time in Seattle. It was a good time in Seattle back then.
The Sunday night game has the Eagles in SoFi against the Rams, laying 3. The over-under is 48.5. Barkley leads the NFL with a career-high 113.7 rushing yards, buck 34.7 total. Cooper Kupp, despite missing 4 games, still leads the Rams with 47 receptions, 488 yards. You may remember it was in this game, I don't think it was at SoFi, though, that Carson Wentz tore his ACL, thought the Eagles were done. I was smiling ear to ear, and the Bashers were going to win the whole damn thing, which pissed me off.
I'm glad you mentioned him today. I want to bring it.
Go right ahead.
You guys see the LaShawn McCoy, Deshaun Jackson, and Darren Sproles interview, and they brought up when they were talking about Wentz.
I did see that.
What did they say?
I wish Brian saw that. We tried to tell him that Wentz was garbage and Wentz was an idiot, and Brian still was like, Wentz is better than Dak. Wentz is better than Dak. No, not even close.
Not.
And but Sproles pretty much just laid out everything and everything that a lot of people knew, but some people were in denial of, about how Wentz just like refused to use the offense that the Eagles used that just won the Super Bowl. Refused to throw the check down on even passes where the halfback was the first read. And I mean, this is crazy, but yeah, I'm glad to see Carson Wentz fail.
I don't even think he cares. He made his money. I don't even think he cares.
He don't care. He'll sell more of his merchandise or whatever he's trying to do, and he'll go be an evangelist.
Jesus will save him.
Yeah, Jesus needs to teach him how to throw a forward pass.
Don't be dissing my man Jesus like that. I just kidding.
We love Jesus.
Eagles at Rams tonight, man. Yeah, Brian, real quick for me. Eagles are firing on all cylinders. They're playing really good football, including Jalen Hurts. I know that irks you a little bit, but he's been playing good ball, throwing wise and rushing wise. Barkley is a perfect fit in the Eagles. Rams I just don't think they're going to have enough to overcome the Eagles in offensively and defensively. I got the Eagles winning this game, boys. I got Barkley going crazy tonight. Give me his props. On the flip side, I know Puka's still a little hurt. Give me Cup on his props. And I think it's going to be I would take the – I don't know if I take it with a 40.5. I'll probably stay under. I'm going Philly. I'm going Philly tonight. I'm staying the under.
Read on the stats, Brian. You're looking something up.
Jalen Hurts has not thrown for 300 yards since the game against the Saints on September 22nd. Jalen Hurts has not thrown for 237 since the Cleveland game. I mean, I don't know what he's doing offensively, but I mean, it's mostly with his
How
legs.
many passing touchdowns does he have?
Passing touchdowns, like the ones that matter?
Yeah. Well, all touchdowns matter.
12
in the last
the season.
He's still touchdown season.
Since last season, he has 12 touchdowns through the air.
Bring up his PFF grade.
12 touchdowns. I'm impressed by this.
Listen, the Eagles are winning football games because of their defense, and their
Correct.
offense is just is riding Saquon Barkley. So
it's just not the defense.
I think so.
Well, their
offensive line has been playing nonstop good football.
I understand.
Their running is probably top 5 in the NFL.
Okay, but Drew, you're going to have to pass the ball at some point when it comes to the playoffs. You're going to have to rely on that. And I don't trust. And watching Eagles games, I don't trust Jalen Hurts. I don't.
So the last good win that the Eagles had was against beating the Redskins. Was a nice win last week, right? Jalen Daniels still a rookie. Okay,
they were expected to win that.
They were expected to win that. They beat Cooper Rush. They beat a bad Trevor Lawrence. If Trevor Lawrence had it at his ass, they win that game. They beat Joe Burrow, and I think Joe Burrow was the last good quarterback they won, even though the Bengals were banged up. That was a nice win for the Eagles. Daniel Jones, Deshaun Watson, Baker Mayfield. I mean, their wins were peppered by awful quarterback play. I mean, maybe that's just the state of the NFL and that they have to play with it, but they haven't beat a good quarterback. Matt Stafford is a step up for any quarterback they played this year outside of Joe Burrow. I expect Matt Stafford to expose this Eagles defense, killing him with the undernights, right? Listen, Mitchell has done a phenomenal job in their exciting whites, as they want to call it. Well, they're going to get a little bit more exciting whites with Cooper Kupp, just going to just shred them. He's going to shred them. They're too young. They're not experienced enough. Puka's banged up, healthy enough to play, but they got Robinson to take the top off. They got Tutu Atwell and Matt Stafford. If anything, the Eagles could stop the run, and they're phenomenal at it. Matt Stafford doesn't need to run the ball. He's going to go out there and use that short passing game to expose this bigger defensive lineman, and he's going to have a big game. Eagles can run the ball, but they have to get a lead to do it, right? A lot of times when you see them down quick, they abandon the run way too fast, and that's one of the things. And I think that happens today. I think the Rams come out. I think they expose the Eagles defense for what they are, with Stafford slinging the ball all over the place. And I'll take the Rams at home +3. But this isn't really even a typical home game because there's going to be more Philly fans out there probably than Rams. But they're used to that by now. You know what I'm saying? But I think a step up in class with Stafford. I think they upset the Eagles tonight.
No, you're right. First real challenge for this Eagle secondary this year.
In a long time.
Yeah, in a long time.
Well, I mean, a Burrow, T.
Without
Higgins list, right?
Higgins, yeah, they didn't have Higgins.
I mean, I'm just impressed that Jalen Hurts is tied for 16th in touchdown passes this year. It's impressive. MVP of the league.
Yeah, I'm not impressed with their passing game. So
it should be good, but they exposed it anyway. Let me ask you this, Brian: how many touchdowns do you think you could score in the NFL from the 1 yard line with the tush push? What's the over under?
Well, so the problem with that is my back would probably break from the people pushing me from behind. So I am also not.
Okay, so how about we'll mention
600.
somebody who is used to getting pushed from behind. How about Dave Berman? How many?
Dave gets double digits. Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. Like the touch, and I got confidence that you could score a couple touchdowns in the NFL on all his attempts from how they handle that. The 600-pound bullshit it's bullshit. I mean, yeah, he does a good job of it, but listen, it's the O-line just blowing people off the ball and everybody that's pushing. And obviously he's a professional athlete and he's going to get it. I don't think that there was a factor where, he squats a little bit more than Daniel Jones, where he's actually scoring more touchdowns. I just think it's just the opportunity and it's the offensive line. I mean,
again, Saquon should have like 30 touchdowns.
Yeah, he should.
That's the thing, right?
and I'm destroying them every time they touch the ball from Saquon Barkley.
It does. It sucks. It's like kind of disappointing when you see it. It's like
he could be having an all-time season right now.
Yeah,
like an all-time season.
Oh yeah.
All right, let's get the money nice. I got to wrap this up. I got to stir my sauce.
All right.
Oh,
this is the game of the week. I think that's a pretty clear one. The 7-4 Ravens at the 7-3 Chargers. Baltimore laying 2.5. 50.5 is the number. For Baltimore, John Harbaugh is 2-0 all time against Jim Harbaugh. For the Chargers, Quentin Johnston has a touchdown in 3 straight games. That's the longest streak of his career. That pick is starting to turn out a little bit okay, so maybe it was coaching after all. Drew, you have a vested interest in this game. Your thoughts?
I want to go last.
You want to go last, Anthony?
Oh, okay. I love this game this week. This is going to be a fun game. I like the Chargers. I love both Harbaughs. I love Jim. I think he's doing an awesome job with the Chargers. I think this is a game where he's just going to line up and try to muscle his brother's team around. That's what they've been doing all year. They've been lining up, running the ball. How do you say it? McConkey? I think he's been a
Glad McConkey.
McConkey, yeah, he's been a great pick. He's been doing awesome for them. Him and Herbert got a good rapport. I like the Chargers here on Monday. I'm going to take the Chargers here in the over. Give me the Chargers on the money line, and I like the over. Ravens secondary, not very good this year. I think Herbert could have a really good game, expose them there. So, yeah, give me the Chargers here.
Older brother beats younger brother. It happens all the time. I just think that the Ravens are going to be focused and get this one. Little bit more versatile offensive repertoire than what Herbert has to work with at this stage in the game. I think there will be no J.K. Dobbins or Gus Edwards revenge game, even though they'll probably be kind of effective. But I like the Ravens to pull this out, even though they're favorite. It'll be close. I think it'll be nice, but I just think the one more playmaker on the Ravens side in the form of Lamar Jackson will be the difference.
I think the Ravens screwed up last week too in the Pittsburgh game. They got away from their game plan. Everybody knows that. They gave the Henry ball 12 times. So I could see them switching it up this week also.
I got a loaded question for you. Who would you rather have at quarterback? Lamar Jackson or Justin Herbert?
Me?
Yeah.
Lamar Jackson.
Wow.
Lamar Jackson.
It's tough for me. I'm gonna go with Lamar.
Okay. Well, it will not be unanimous. I'd rather have Justin Herbert. That's just me.
It's 3-on-1, but
that's fine. That's whatever. I like the Chargers in this game. Look, I mean the Ravens have lost 2 straight on the road. They're in the division, so you kind of take that with a grain of salt. They were tight games. It is what it is. But I really like what I'm seeing out of the Chargers this year. And I thought this would be like a cap reset year, and it really hasn't been. This is the best Chargers team we've seen in a while. And they've played well. They run the ball effectively. They throw the ball effectively. There's just not a lot not to like. And again, I think if they were in a different division, people would be talking about them a lot more. I think that being underneath the aura of the Chiefs just changes the way that you think. Look, they've won 5 of 6. Their sole loss was in Arizona. I mean, this is a good team. I think they're a very good team. I think they win this game.
I agree. I think they're an excellent team. I think Harbaugh's got them playing well. They finishing games, which the Chargers never did.
Yeah, man, I'm excited for this game. Obviously, I think it is the game of the week. I personally, I'm excited because I get to take my son. We're going to the game tomorrow night.
Nice, man. Nice.
It's his first Chargers game, so it's going to be a ton of fun just for that experience alone. From the game wise,
how far are you from the stadium? What's that drive?
2.5.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm excited, man. I can't wait. It's going to be a cool experience. For this games wise, I think it's going to be a really, really, really tough game for the Chargers to overcome. A lot of issues, like especially the running from the offense from Lamar and Derrick Henry. Got to make Lamar a passer into a passer and do the best that we can from a defensive standpoint. I think Jesse Minter is going to do the best he can as a coordinator, D coordinator. Offensively, we can't shut down the second half. If we do that like we did against Cincinnati, we're going to lose this game easily. So I'm expecting a lot of JK. I'm expecting a lot of Gus. And I hope McConkey can play with his shoulder injury. So I hope he can play and be out there. But if I had to pick an X factor, it's got to be Quinn Johnson. He's proven his haters wrong, including myself. He's having a great year this year. I think he's tied third in touchdown catches. Definitely need to see him step up to the plate and continue to be a threat that he is and make some noise. And Justin Herbert, and he needs to do what he wants to do. I got the Chargers winning this game, 2017.
Everybody on that team's improved. Even their tight end, Will Dissly, he's been becoming a factor.
Agree.
I love their offense. And the defense is playing really well. I mean, that's call it what is. Again, I feel as though, like, again, if they were under that Kansas City cloud, that they would be getting a lot more play as a potential, like it's hard for them to get a home playoff game. It just is. Like that's because they're behind the Chiefs. Like if they were in the South, probably win the South. Right?
They're the definition of a well-coached football team.
Coaching man.
I'm very mad.
It's okay, Brian. I'd like to do a shout out real quick to my cousin Shayna. Dude, shout out to her. She just found out she had breast cancer. So shout out to her and everything that she's going through, man. I'll send up a GoFundMe page here in a couple of days. I'll be sending and sharing it out. But yeah, man, praise to her and her family.
How old?
She is 37.
It's young, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
God bless her. God bless.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Make it a good Sunday today, week 12. We'll catch you next week to recap it all, take a fresh look at where the playoff teams look. Again, I think the most fun you're going to see is tomorrow night, unless you're watching Monday Night Raw, which I don't think Drew is.
Now that you brought that up, I got a wrestling question for you, Brian.
Yes.
So every year we send out these Christmas cards for my staff. Last year we use AI to superimpose our faces into like all the superheroes last year. So, guys were Hulk, Iron Man, all that kind of stuff. Came out great. Looked phenomenal. This year they want to do professional wrestlers.
Yep. So
who would you pick if you were to be superimposed into a professional wrestler?
Oh, this is a good question.
Probably CM Punk. That's my guy.
CM Punk? I don't even know who that is.
So how many people are in the picture?
Like 12 to 15.
Oh, okay.
I forget how big my staff is. I guess I don't know. My highest department's about 15 to 12 people.
There's a lot of talent right now. There's Roman Reigns, there's The Rock, there's Cody Rhodes.
Most of us are a little bit older, so probably like
Stone Cold, The Rock, DX.
Tony,
don't be hating on wrestling, Tone.
Tony, just give me Ravishing Rick Rude.
That's a good one. That's a good one with the
yeah. Simply.
If we had an HR department, I might be called to it on that one though. But I'm trying to figure which character to pick. It will be none that you named, Brian. By the way, I don't
Macho Man.
Nah, I'm not a Savage fan.
Turn, you should be Diamond Dallas Page.
Diamond Dallas Page, the Diamond Cutter.
Yeah.
The Diamond Cutter.
Yeah.
Got the with the long hair.
I was looking just for little Rick Rude, Ric Flair, just so I could do wear the cape.
There you go. Can't go wrong with that one.
Make it a good Sunday. We'll catch you next week.
All right, boys.